With Clone Wars Season 7 Episode 11, Shattered, releasing very soon on Disney+, some of you are wondering, who exactly is Gar Saxon? Despite making a notable appearance in the Star Wars Rebels show, Gar Saxon actually made his first appearance in the Son of Dathomir comics where he helped to rescue his leader, Maul. I'm going to break down the complete history of Gar Saxon and how he came to serve Maul. So before we dive into it, remember to subscribe to the channel to be notified as soon as I release my Clone Wars Season 7 Episode 11 predictions video tomorrow, which is sure to be an incredible one. Gar Saxon was a Mandalorian warrior born on the planet Mandalore who served as a commander of the Mandalorian Super Commandos, under the leadership of former Sith Lord Maul and his Shadow Collective. His strong loyalty to Maul after the splitting of Death Watch allowed Saxon to ascend to the second highest position in Maul's forces, second only to leader of the Super Commandos, Rook Kast. Just like Rook Kast, Saxon's first appearance came in the Son of Dathomir comic series, which were originally intended to be animated and turned into episodes for the original Season 7 of the Clone Wars. During his service with Maul's Mandalorian Super Commando forces, Saxon wore his traditional Beskar Mandalorian armor, but attached horns to his helmet as a tribute to his leader, Maul. This helmet was also one of two unique Mandalorian Super Commando helmets, which emanated an orange glow when it was worn, symbolizing Saxon's leadership within the Super Commando forces. He also painted his armor red and black, again as a display of loyalty to Maul and the Shadow Collective. Saxon also carried a plasma personal combat shield which assisted him in blocking blaster fire from the clones at the Siege of Mandalore. After Maul was captured by Darth Sidious and taken to the shocking Spire prison on the remote world of Stygian Prime, Gar Saxon was ordered by Prime Minister Olmec, whom Maul had placed in charge, to stage a rescue attempt for their leader. Saxon and Rook Kast were able to successfully free Maul from his confinement in the Spire prison and escape on a Mandalorian gauntlet fighter to the Death Watch outpost on Zanbar. After arriving on Zanbar, Saxon took Maul to the secret operations center of the Shadow Collective base, where he would brief his people on his absence. Unfortunately for Maul and Saxon, Grievous and his droid army had managed to track their ship to Zanbar and were preparing to invade the outpost immediately. During Grievous's attack on Zanbar, Gar Saxon fought alongside his fellow Mandalorian Super Commandos, but as it became clear that his men were defeated, he escaped the hard-fought battle with Maul and Rook Kast. Following their defeat on Zanbar, Saxon and Maul travelled to Ord Mantell where they would meet with the other members of the Shadow Collective to build their forces. Once again, Grievous's droids had managed to track Saxon and Maul to Ord Mantell, where they began a ferocious orbital bombardment of the planet, killing many of its people. As Grievous's attack began to intensify, Gar Saxon was placed in command of the Mandalorian ground forces by Maul. Saxon and his men were quickly defeated and rounded up, on the verge of execution after suffering a horrific defeat on the battlefield. Luckily for Saxon and his men, Maul was able to sneak aboard Grievous's command ship with Rook Kast and deactivate the droid army only moments before they were to execute him. After this narrow escape, Saxon and his ground forces rushed to save a legion of Night Brothers that were in hand-to-hand combat with Sith Lord Count Dooku. With the combined strength of Gar Saxon's men and Maul's Night Brothers, they were able to capture and imprison Dooku. After suffering a second failure on Ord Mantell, Saxon and the rest of the Shadow Collective moved their operations to a Mandalorian asteroid base in the Mid-Rim. Unfortunately for them, the fierce battle on Ord Mantell had not gone unnoticed by the Republic, who had now sent Jedi Masters Mace Windu, Tip Lee, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ayla Secura to investigate. When the Jedi arrived on the asteroid base, Maul and Dooku were forced to team up to defeat them, leaving Gar Saxon in charge of the Mandalorian Super Commando forces. As Dooku and Maul fought a fierce battle with the Jedi Masters, General Grievous, who they had also captured, managed to escape from his prison cell, allowing Dooku to kill Master Tip Lee, enraging the Jedi. The Jedi gained the upper hand at this point, but that advantage was only short-lived, as Saxon suggested that Rook Kast fire a rocket at the Jedi, knocking Mace Windu and Ayla Secura unconscious. This blast allowed a quick escape from the asteroid base, but once again at the cost of many of Maul and Saxon's men who were captured by the Republic. Maul's consistent losses of men and Shadow Collective assets then caused the other members of the Shadow Collective to attempt to leave the organization. They are quickly brought into line however as Gar Saxon is dispatched to deal with them. Following that, we finally arrive at where we are now in Clone Wars Season 7 Episode 10. After the failure of Maul's Super Commandos on the asteroid base, they eventually regrouped on Mandalore. While back on Mandalore, Prime Minister Olmec became aware of an impending invasion by the Republic. This threat of invasion outraged Olmec, who ordered Saxon to prepare the Super Commando forces to defend the planet against the upcoming siege. After engaging in fierce battle with the Republic's clone army for a long period of time, Saxon was instructed to escape into the sewer systems of Sundari, where he would be met by his leader, Maul. He was also instructed to set up a trap for Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, but unfortunately for them, Kenobi never arrived, forcing them to spring the trap on Ahsoka Tano. Maul and Saxon's Mandalorian Super Commandos were unable to hold Ahsoka captive, as she managed to escape their grasp with the help of the newly promoted Commander Rex. After receiving news from the surface of Mandalore that Olmec had been captured by the Republic forces, Maul instructed Saxon to travel to the prison where he was being held and eliminate the Prime Minister before he could reveal any information about Maul's plan. After arriving at the prison, Saxon quickly brought Olmec to his demise with 2 swift shots to the chest, only moments before giving crucial information about Maul to Bo-Katan and Ahsoka. Following his successful mission at the prison, Saxon regrouped with Maul, where he was sent into battle along with Rook Kast against Ahsoka and Rex's 332nd Company. As defeat was approaching at the hands of the Republic clones and Bo-Katan's Night Owls, Saxon called upon Maul for reinforcements but was refused and betrayed by his leader. At this point, Saxon was captured by Rex. Following this, the next time we see Saxon is long after the dissolution of the Shadow Collective and the formation of the Empire. Saxon eventually joined the ranks of the Empire, being installed as a puppet Imperial Governor of Mandalore. Saxon quickly rose to the rank of Imperial Viceroy, with his new Imperial Super Commandos enforcing the rule of the Empire on Mandalore. Because of his failure at the Siege of Mandalore and his betrayal by Maul, it is likely that Saxon joined the Empire to increase his own power and to do something that Maul would absolutely despise. He also became the leader of the new Imperial Super Commandos, who were a group of Mandalorians that formerly followed Maul but are now loyal to the Empire. An interesting point here is that Rook Kast, who was Maul's top Super Commando, was not seen in Star Wars Rebels at all, so it is unlikely that she switched her allegiance to the Empire. If this is the case, she will either have to die at the Siege of Mandalore or have a more interesting future story. Many people have suggested that Rook Kast may actually be the armorer from The Mandalorian. The armorer has horns on her helmet, potentially symbolizing her former loyalty to Maul. She also has the same accent as Rook Kast, which has shown to have meaning in other family lines. On top of this, the armorer has an incredible fighting ability, taking on a horde of stormtroopers very similarly to Rook Kast. I think this would be an incredible connection and would certainly show a huge contrast in the paths that Kast and Saxon took as former leaders of Maul's Super Commandos. He quickly formed a rivalry with Fen Rao, who was the leader of the Mandalorian Protectors, a group of Mandalorians that dedicated themselves to protecting the leader of Mandalore. In order to draw out Fen Rao, Saxon slaughtered every single one of his Mandalorian protectors, leaving Rao as the final remaining. Upon Rao's return to the location of his people's demise, he brought with him hidden Jedi Ezra Bridger. After eventually figuring out that Ezra was a Jedi, Saxon realized that Vader and the Inquisitors would be very interested in his captive. Saxon was unable to hold his prisoner, however, with the fellow Mandalorian from Clan Vizsla, Sabine Wren, coming to Ezra's rescue. Following Saxon's failure to defeat Sabine on Concord Dawn, he received word from Sabine's own mother, Ursa Wren, that she was on her way to visiting the Clan Wren household on the planet Crownest. Ursa Wren considered her daughter a disgrace to Clan Wren because of her previous work for the Empire. Upon reaching the planet, Saxon was handed the prized Darksaber after Sabine had voluntarily handed it to her mother. Despite siding with Saxon, he declared the whole of Clan Wren traitors to Mandalore and to the Empire, threatening to end the clan on the spot. He then attempted to execute Ursa Wren, but was blocked by Sabine Wren, who is now using Ezra Bridger's green lightsaber. This action sparked a fierce duel between the holder of the Darksaber, Saxon, and Sabine. Sabine defeated Saxon, knocking his blade out of his hands, but refused to execute him. This prompted Ursa Wren to come to the aid of her daughter and kill Gar Saxon once and for all. And that is where the complete history of Gar Saxon comes to a close. I'm sure we'll get at least a small glimpse into how Saxon escaped Mandalore after his capture by the Republic in Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 11. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel to be notified as soon as I drop my Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 11 predictions video. Thanks again for watching. Cheers, guys.